Oh, my nipples. I think it does say Team Panda. Let it rain! Let it rain! Oh, serious, my nipples are like icicles. What's happening, guys? Well, today we are out in Buena Vista, and we're at 4 Mile North OHV area, and we've been camping along the Arkansas River for the last 2 nights, and we were tired and beat up. We did some tubing, and that's a whole nother story. But yeah, check out these mountains. They're called the Collegiate Peaks. I don't know exactly which is which, but they're all named after colleges. And Miss Stacy's checking out the route. Camping limited to 14 days. And on the 15th day, the Magic Ranger floats down from the sky and says, "You can't stay here anymore." Sure. So the wind's kind of going backwards of the way that I'm facing right now. So hopefully that rainstorm isn't going to hit us, but if it does, we're prepared to get wet. We got changes of clothes and everything. But this is supposed to be nice and very scenic, so hopefully we'll see something cool. Trip said I had 116 miles or something, and there's no way that's possible. So tubing did not go exactly as we had planned. What we found out was, before we actually left to go tubing from breakfast in the morning, was that 2 days ago they stopped the water management, and that means that the river is pretty low. So now it's just an obstacle. Nasty, sharp rocks and just ugly. It was awful. To give you a little bit of an idea about... Wow, this is gorgeous. I can't even talk. Maybe we can see it from up here. Wow. So about 2 minutes after we dropped into the river, maybe, I don't know, 300 yards, 400 yards, we had three tubes, and each tube is made to have 2 people, and it has a cooler in the middle. So we all had our ice and our beer, and hey, ready for a nice ride down the river, drink some beers, hang out, have a good time with friends. And we all had gotten the same tube, which had gotten stellar reviews, you know, awesome for river tubing, and, you know, should be perfect. So about 100 yards down the river, 2 of the people that we were with that we don't know very well, but have hung out with a couple of times, their tube pops. Gets a leak. Well, at 375. Alright, somebody shot at that a couple times. But gets a leak, goes flat. They're like, oh crap, and we're like still floating on down the river because there's nowhere for us to stop. So we eventually get stopped. I jumped off and grabbed our tube and grabbed Miss Jocelyn and Mr. Joe's. And oh, a little bumpy. And they come walking down and we're like, oh crap, what are you gonna do? You're kind of screwed at this point. Wow, this is cool. This is nothing like we've seen before. But yeah, nice. So we we're like, oh crap, well, what are we gonna do? We just dropped in, and We had driven Mrs. Jocelyn's Jeep. Oh, alright. Alright, Lou. So we let them, we're like, alright, well, we're in town. Like, why don't you guys run back up into town and see if you can rent another tube, and we'll see if we can wait for you at the next launch site, which is about a mile. So we take off down to Stace and I make it about 3/4 of a mile. Maybe I think I got almost all the way through a beer, and she wasn't even halfway through a beer. I was a little thirsty, and we started running into rocks, and bam, down goes our tube. Oh crap! Now what do we do? Mr. Jocelyn and Mr. Joe couldn't stop at this point because they were going too fast, and just floated on down around the corner. Like, hope you guys make it. So we're like, all right, hop out of the tube, and wow, jump out of the tube and pull it over to the side, and we're in somebody's yard, somebody's backyard along the river, and there's not a whole lot we could do. We just started walking on out, and we ended up right against right across the main road. Once we walked through the neighborhood a little bit, right next to a place that we thought we were gonna try and rent paddles at, and apparently they didn't rent paddles. The guy actually makes metal frames for the really thick PVC boats, and he was like, yeah, I can't rent you a boat, can't rent you anything. He's like, but I can sell you a boat for between $800 and a couple of $1,000s. We're like, yeah, that's not quite what we planned on doing. So he says, I do know of a cab company, and we're like, yes, because we were, I don't know, probably 10-12 miles from where we were, back to the campsite, back to a car that we had keys to. So we got lucky. We got saved by the cab. Cab came and got us 15 minutes. We were back at the campsite, back to the car. Yeah, Stace was like, let's go try and rent something else. And I'm like, nope, river's way too low for my big butt. Whatever we try and get into, I'm just gonna pop it. Or it's just gonna pop, because we're only in like a foot of water with huge rocks. So now the other couple that we were with that popped before us are lost. We don't know where they are. We got stranded too, but we're safe. We got back to the car. And hey, I'm not shy. I'll hitchhike. I'll offer somebody $20 for a ride if you're gonna pick me up. Cause I'm a big dude who usually carries a gun. If you're gonna pick me up, you're cool with me. I mean, I would pick somebody up, as long as they're not super sketchy, and I don't think I look super sketchy. But anyway, so we get back to the campsite, we get the car, and don't change or anything. We're like, oh man, maybe, who knows, maybe we'll end up swimming or something. And we go on a mission to find Joe and Jocelyn and see how they're doing. And we rode around for 3 hours looking for them. And up and down. I mean, it's only, like I said, 10-12 miles. There comes the rain. But we did eventually notice them. We started taking like off-road trails, trying to get closer to the water to see it, and we eventually did find them. And here's what happened as we found them. Ding! So after about 3/4 of a mile, our tube popped, and now here we are, maybe 5 miles down. We got a cab ride back and got the car, and we just got to watch
Joe and Justin pop, what was that, the hockey stick?
No, that's the gun.
The water.
Squirt gun.
Oh, where did Stacy go? So if that wasn't perfect timing, I don't know what is. And I take no responsibility for their tube popping because I wasn't anywhere near it. But how lucky that it popped right as we got there. That was freaking amazing. And they were like, "That's crazy." That was meant to happen. However, they had been on the water for probably 4 hours at that time. So they made it really far and through just like the most awful tubing conditions possible. Just rocks everywhere in the middle of the road sticking up out of the water. We got told that there was a class 2 rapid that they went down. There we go. Wow, this is a beautiful area. Sorry if you guys get a little wet, but not much we can do about it. I'll try and clean you off when I stop next. So that was our tubing adventure. Yeah. Oh, and the best part about it was the other couple that was with us apparently walked back into town with their tube full of beer and ice, flat. Tried to get it fixed, figured out that there was a hole in the bottom of it and that there was also a defective valve. So where they were filling it up, it was just leaking right back out again. So they thought they got it fixed, and they were like, all right, we're gonna hop back on the river. And this is a good couple hours. You know, this is probably maybe an hour before we found Joss and Joe. They start. And they did not get down to the campsite until just about dark, maybe 7:30. And they told us that their tube went flat every 30 minutes. They were pulled over and blowing into it, and they just had a horrific time. And I mean, I understand. If that ever happens to me, I will not be stopping and blowing it up. You'll see me up on the road trying to get a ride with or without a tube. So yeah, tubing was a misadventure. However, the area was absolutely beautiful, and I really wanted to take a ride up through the canyon with the DRZ, but I was so cooked by the sun. And I mean, I didn't even drink, barely at all, but even just a couple of beers and soaked by the sun, I was down for the count, big time. I was trying to find any shade that I could find, and that was it. I just could barely move, drinking water, as much water as I could, until nighttime, and then set a pretty awesome fire and cooked up some fresh brats and cooked up some burgers and wings, and everybody had a good old time at night. Played some music and had some campfire games and whatnot, and did what we do. That's what we do when we camp. I made the best of it. Everybody was beat. Oh wow, this is pretty. So as I was mentioning about sand in one of my recent videos, it scared me to death. Not anymore. Unless it's like super deep and super loose. You still gotta be real careful, but now, yeah, just float over it. Keep a little gas on and just go. Yeah, Zena's kind of mad at me. I haven't washed her down since Red Feather Lakes, so she's a little bit of a dirty girl. She's like, you didn't give me a bath, so I don't like you right now. All right, Zena, calm down. Oh, this gate gets locked. Okay. All the seasonal closures around here get a little confusing. I mean, everything's different. Different times, different dates. So you really got to check if you're going to an actual OHV area. You got to check the maps and check the website. And make sure that when you show up, your trail's not closed and you're not happy. I took the bike about a mile from the campsite. because I was going to look for the other couple that was with us before they showed up. But just as I was leaving, they showed up. But I had already gotten everything off, got my boots on, got my helmet on, and I was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna tool on up the road. Because we had noticed that there was a lot of BLM up there, and in Colorado and surrounding states, BLM stands for Bureau of Land Management, and a lot of that land, or actually 100% of that land, is open to OHV. So states can ride anywhere. And there was a lot of BLM along that little canyon just south of Salida. Was where we were. We were in between Howard and Salida, in case anybody knows the area. And there were just trails leading up into the hills, and we were like, whoa. You know, some of them looked really nice. So we were like, oh, maybe we'll go right there tomorrow morning. You know, won't have to go very far. Until we realized we didn't have breakfast. We didn't have any food for breakfast. So like, let's go get breakfast. And over breakfast, we looked at the OHV book, and it said, actually, the guy at the boat store, the one that didn't rent us a boat but helped us out with the cab, he told us about this place. He mentioned it. We were like, oh yeah, cool. And then we actually looked it up, and it was in the book. So double cool. So yeah, the guy told us about it, and then we had breakfast at an awesome place. You ever notice that it's the crappy, rundown looking kind of places that always have the best food? That's where we ate breakfast this morning, and it was awesome. So did a little bit more reading in the book there, and we were like, oh man, after being kind of beat up for a couple days, that sounds awesome. So I just want to make an official statement that it's not always gray and dismal in Colorado, I promise. Just seems like it has been for the last couple days. It's pretty. Let's go on up the top. I'll bet you can see more of the collegiate peaks up there. So I did take the GoPro on the river. It was in that dry bag, and I put my new case didn't come in time. It's probably sitting there on our doorstep today. But I put duct tape on the inside of the case over the mic jack hole that Mr. Scott and I drilled, and on the outside. So it was a sandwich with plastic in between. And I was like, I don't plan on actually dunking it underwater, so that should be waterproof enough. But we didn't even get far enough down the river to even take it out of the bag. Holy crap. Check. Whoa. All right. Wow. Pull up a little bit. I'm gonna get off for a second. Now that I did not expect. Oh. This looks like one of the pass roads. Just not nearly as high. You see that rain coming down the mountain? That's how you see it in Colorado. I hope it's coming out on the camera, but you can literally see for miles and miles and miles where the rain is coming down, and follow it and see which way it's going to go and see if it's going to hit you. I've never seen that anywhere else on the East Coast, anywhere. Super cool. That's gorgeous. Even with it looking like it's about to rain, isn't it? I think it makes it prettier. Yeah.